What is up, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be talking about how I got into debt, how I'm planning to get out of debt, and the purpose of today's video is pretty much to tell my younger and naive dumb self to fix their problem, which is my current self, and in therefore anyone who's facing the same sort of situation might be able to get out of it quicker than I specifically can. So in case you don't know how I got stuck in this situation, I currently have $22,000 Australian dollars in debt. And how did I accumulate this? I used credit cards, and I've not got anything like personal loans, car loans, house loans, or anything like that. It's literally $21,000 of credit card debt over, I believe, 5 different credit cards. Now, should you use credit cards? In my opinion, if you are a responsible person and you can use credit cards wisely and you can pay them off each and every single month in full, and you know this as a fact, or you want to go try it out and you end up doing it, then that's great. You are declared as a responsible person for using credit cards. However, people like me who want to buy fancy things such as a Porsche or a monitor or a brand new computer to make videos or edit videos, we end up being on the more consumer side where we use credit cards to buy stuff, and therefore we end up in a situation which you may or may not end up in. Today's video is hopefully let you get out of that situation faster than I can. So in case you're wondering how I got into this credit card debt, pretty much it's from consumerism and trying multiple business ventures, buying online courses, things of such. Now, I'm not saying you should entirely cut off credit cards if you plan to buy something like a monitor or a computer or whatever it may be. Just make sure that you pay it in full each and every time you use the credit cards. Therefore, you overbank nothing, therefore they can't get interest off you, and the bank makes nothing. You get what you want and you pay it off in full, therefore the credit holder wins and the banks do not. The way the banks mainly make their money, from what I understand, I've not read into this, but the way banks make money is, for example, if you give a bank $1, they can loan out $10, and that $10 they loaned out to, let's say, James, and therefore if James pays it off in full, and what happens is the bank makes no money. However, if James made the same mistake, and let's say he borrowed $10 and he paid off a minimum, let's say it's $1 every month, and therefore the bank can now charge him interest, which is, let's say, $1. Therefore, from that $1 that the bank got from you, and they loaned out $10, from that $10, thanks to interest, they now made $1 off of someone else. And of course, you can think of this in a bigger scale, millions of dollars, or even trillions of dollars. Now, as for how much money I earn, I currently am a freight handler at a warehouse in Australia, and I only make about 52,000 Australian dollars a year. And what I am currently in is I live with a roommate. I live with 5 different roommates in a 3-bedroom house, and all my expenses such as electricity, water, etc. are paid for. Therefore, the only thing I have to really worry about is my rent, my food, and my transportation. And that can be relatively cheap when you're earning $1,000 a week or a bit over if you're doing overtime, and therefore you can keep costs down to maybe $300-400 a week, depends how much food you eat, if you go out, and things of such nature. Now, this is exactly how I split up my money. I have 50% going towards stuff that I need to have, such as rent, food, fuel, insurance, etc. And let's say that's $500. And I have another $500, which is 50% of my income, which goes towards directly to debt. It doesn't go towards savings, but I have a $1,000 emergency fund, and therefore if something bad happens in my life, typically about $1,000 can cover that situation. I know some situations are more or less, but depending on how much credit card you have, I would focus on getting rid of debt first, because banks are making money off you and they're charging you interest on things you may or may not have purchased with that credit card. If you can save $200 a month in interest instead of saving $100 a month in savings, therefore I rather just tackle the interest instead of the savings. So how do I also get my expenses so low? So like I said, I live with 5 other roommates. Living with roommates or living with parents can be extremely cheap. So if you are in credit card debt or you're in a situation where you have credit card debt and you can live with roommates or your family, then I recommend going to do that, because rent is very expensive and it can cut into your weekly or monthly budget. So therefore, lowering that as much as you can and using that money to tackle your debt is the best option that you can have. And understand that this is a long-term game. Doing the maths that I have said, I've written it down in an app called Notion, and therefore it will take me about 8.5 months to get rid of all my debt and be 100% debt free. Then I can focus on getting my savings up, more than likely for a house deposit in my future. So if you've not already, then do the maths on a Google spreadsheet, maybe Notion, or on a pen and paper, and write down how much debt you have, how much money you can allocate towards that debt, how long it might take you. Therefore, you have 3 actionable items you can go towards each and every day. 1 would be how much money you can allocate towards your debt. 2, you can see your debt over time get reduced. And 3 is how long it will take. Therefore, you can know in 1, 2, 3, or 4 years how long it might take you to get out of debt. I am lucky that I've not reached the 1 year mark or more. Or the earlier you find the problem of you are a consumer with debt, the earlier you can tackle that situation. And something else that I am very fortunate about is my grandparents helped me buy my first car, which was a Toyota Echo 2005, and therefore I had no car payments, and that definitely helped me not increase my amount of debt I had to pay each and every single month. So if you can afford to buy a banger up car in cash, I definitely recommend to do that. Or if you have to go down the road of financing, then finance at a cheap rate, typically less than 10% of your weekly or monthly income. And another thing about debt is you've got 2 types of debt. You've got good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is consumer debt, where you buy things such as monitors or whatever and they don't produce you any money. That's bad debt. And good debt is something that can generate you money, such as doing a business, whether that be buying camera equipment for YouTube. Let's say you spend $1,000 to buy a camera, microphone, etc. And eventually over time, YouTube pays you $2,000, and therefore you are $1,000 in profit, and you've used the profit from YouTube to pay off your debt. Therefore you are now in the positive. That is good debt, but there is also risk associated with that debt, so you also have to keep that in mind. And also, since you see here my Porsche 911, which I want to get in the future, if you want something fancy like this, don't go into consumer debt trying to get something like this, because it's very expensive and car payments will be very expensive on this. I've not done the maths here for this specific car, but I've seen videos on TikTok, etc., explaining how expensive car payments like this would be. And therefore, the only actual way to earn a car like this is to increase your income, not go into consumer debt or car loan debt to afford something like this. What is my eventual money goal? My eventual money goal is to reach $10,000 in profit each and every single month for a year straight. So therefore it'd be about $100,000 in profit and $120,000 in revenue, and I might pay $20,000 depending on taxes and all the other expenses that will be associated. How do you plan on making this money? Well, right now I have a job. I make about $1,000 a week net. So the number one source of income for me would be my job, which is my fully 100% main source of income, depending if I do overtime, but I pay about $300 in taxes each and every single week. And my second stream of income I want to build is my one-on-one coaching business, and that is $1,500 a month for a 30-day program. And what I want to do is I want to bring on 5 people to help them with making content and coming up with things such as content ideas, scheduling in time to make your content, and accountability. And there's more stuff. If you want to have a chat about it or anything like that, you can hit me up on Instagram, or you can book in a free 20-minute call with me to discuss where you are, how I can help you, and we can go from there. I am also planning to build a school program, which is a community of like-minded people, content creators, entrepreneurs, and business people alike. I am more than likely going to be releasing this for $98 a month, so therefore we can all help each other. And because this is a price bracket subscription, it will be only holding people that, 1, have the capital to actually invest into a subscription like this, 2, people that are super serious about this, because you don't want to invest $98 a month and waste money. So that will only be for super serious people, because $98, even though it's cheap, it's not $98 that you want to burn. And I want to eventually bring this up to 500 members cap, so that will be another stream of income for me. I make money, I help you make money, and everybody wins. Another thing you can also do, which you may not already be doing, is if you are not already working a minimum of 40 hours a week on your job, then I definitely recommend you go do that. Or if you cannot get a full-time job, get 2 part-time jobs, or do something like Uber or Uber Eats, whatever you can. And therefore, the more money you make, the more money you can use to tackle your debt, like I am currently doing. I spend 50 hours a week at work, including commute, and I spend about 10 to 20 hours a week on YouTube. Therefore, at my main income always going to be capped at $1,000, because that is how much time I am required to put into my job each and every single week. And therefore my cap is 40 hours a week, $1,000, excluding the commuting times, because unfortunately I didn't get paid for that. And my second income I am building on the time on weekends, as well as time outside of my job, which is typically 3 to 4 hours a day that I have free. So I try to spend at least 1 or 2 hours of them either recording content like this or editing it on my computer. Quick summary of that: increase your income as much as you can and use that money to tackle your debt to free up cash flow. So I definitely hope that you enjoyed today's video. If it helped you, leave a thumbs up and comment down below your favorite part, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help you guys. As well as if you want to start content creation but you are stuck, you're invited to have a free 20-minute one-on-one coaching call with me, and I can see if I can help you. And if you would like to invest into my coaching program, we can definitely discuss that. Payment plans will also be an option, because I know money can be tight or people can be skeptical around these things. I am 100% transparent